All right, we just got onto TikTok here. Welcome everybody on TikTok land. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope Yahweh is blessing your day. Tonight we're gonna have a great Bible study tonight. We're gonna be going through some old stuff, some new stuff. We're gonna be talking about what works and what doesn't. Just simple as that. Tonight we're gonna be drawing some lines in the sand. That's right. You know, the best way that you can control your situation, any situation, is having boundaries, safe boundaries, right? We have to say, this is what we teach our children, right? So our daughters don't come home pregnant, right? Okay. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about spiritual adultery. Kind of close. But somewhere in the same market, but you know, we're going to be talking about this tonight. I'm super excited. My name is Tim Damron. I'm with the House of Yah Community Outreach. We're going to come on in just a couple of minutes, so hang on, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad all of you guys are here tonight. Today is the day Yahweh has made. That's right. We're going to rejoice and be glad in it. Count all things good. Hold on just a minute. Let me make sure I'm hooked up to the right. Yes, I am. All right. Make sure everybody's good. I hope everybody is having a wonderful and beautiful weekend so far. I got to tell you, Yahweh has been perfect. Perfect. Perfect like always. All right. We got about one more minute here. We're going to get started. I promise we're going to go easy tonight. Just kidding. Not doing that. Easy is for somebody else. That's just not me. My life's never been easy, and there's no reason to start doing it now. So welcome, everybody. It's Stepping Off, man. I'm super excited. So glad all you guys are here. Look at you guys blowing up on TikTok. We're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, we're going to be having Bible study. Tomorrow night, we're going to have an informational call. Tomorrow's call, you guys need to get on this call. All of you guys that are on this call, tomorrow night, make plans, feed the dog, wipe the kids, do whatever you got to do. Be here tomorrow night, because tomorrow night at 6 p.m., I got a message. I got a really good message for you guys. We got a wonderful class coming up. We're going to be talking about a lot of that. We're going to be talking about lots of cool stuff. But you know what? This isn't about tomorrow. This is about today. So welcome everybody to the call. So glad all of you guys are here. What is the memorial behind me? Oh, that's a memorial here in Texas for our veterans, actually. And one of the big things, one of our focuses here with the House of Yah is our vets. You know, we're all about helping our homeless vets. Those of you guys that are helping us or supporting us with any of the classes that we are offering or anything like that, any of the donations you guys are sending, all of those funds, we're working actually on a facility just for our vets. We're going to put them into long-term care, and they don't have to deal with this stuff anymore. My goal is to take the two words, homeless vet, and people like scratch their head and go, wow, what's that? Who's a homeless vet? What is a homeless vet? That's the goal. That's the goal. You know why? Because those guys laid it down for us. And the ones that came back alive, believe me, they were ready to lay it down for us. They were ready to lay it down for our free speech, our free freedom, and the things that we get to do today, right now. Okay? You're not allowed to do this in every country in the world. Not every country in the world is going to let you talk about this kind of stuff. They're not. So, awesome, man. So glad you guys are all here, man. I got to tell you, since I started this walk with Yahweh, and I mean, I've been walking with him for quite some time, but really got to know who he was after 2015. And about 2015 is when we started really grooving and we started really connecting, and I met an amazing Elohim. He wasn't just God anymore. He was my everything. He was my first love, my last love. He's the first thing I think about when I get up in the morning. He's the last thing I think about when I go to bed. He really is. And that level, it's genuine, but it's a level that's earned. It's not a level that you can fake your way into doing. You're either doing it or you're not. And tonight we're going to be talking about spiritual adultery. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And we're going to compare it to literal adultery, actually. It's really going to be quite interesting. So we've got a lot to do. It looks like it's time to get started. Let's go ahead and start the clock here.
This call is being recorded.
That's right, you heard her. Welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Tim Damron. I'm with the House of Yah Community Outreach. Tonight, we're going to be having Bible study. I'm super excited. I'm so glad that all of you guys are here. Oh, my goodness. And I'm so humbled. All of you guys that are here on TikTok here. My goodness. And you guys here on Facebook as well. Welcome. I'm so glad all of you guys are here. Patrick, welcome, man. So good to see you, man. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something. I think this is something that's kind of thrown around a lot in conversations, but not necessarily defined, not really looked at, you know? And that word, it's a terrible word. Some people have been killed for it. Yeah, it's adultery. That's right. You know, it's one of the few crimes of passion you can actually get away with here in the state of Texas. That's right. If you walk in and you catch your wife cheating, you can totally lose your mind and shoot everybody in the house and get away with it. That's what I'm told. And there's a whole lot of case law that says it works. Not saying I'm going to go try it or anything, but, you know, anyway. Because, I mean, I wouldn't want to. Why would you want to poke the bear? Oh, trust me, there's plenty that would, I'm sure. But anyway, if you guys have a copy of your Bible, a copy of the scriptures, we're going to start in Proverbs chapter 8 today. You guys ready? Hold on a second. I'm sorry, not Proverbs chapter 8. My bad. Proverbs chapter 7. We're going to read through this real quick and then we're going to pray. Okay? Please listen, everybody. And it's Proverbs chapter 7. You guys get with me. Stay with me here. My son, keep my word. Store up your commandments with you. Obey my commandments and live. Guard my teaching like the pupil of your eye. Bind them to your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister. Okay? This is talking about a relationship. Okay? Call understanding your kinswoman, so that they can keep you from the unknown woman, from the loose woman with their seductive talk. For I was at the window of my house, glancing through the lattice, when I saw the young men there, among those who didn't think for themselves, a young fellow devoid of all sense. He crosses the street near the corner and continues to go towards her house. Dusk turns into evening and finally dark and black. And then the woman approaches him, in the dark and the black, of course, and dressed as a prostitute, willy of heart. She's the coarse, impulsive type whose feet don't stay at home. Rather, she stalks the streets and squares, lurking every street corner. That includes ones that are doing it online, too. That's all the same. She grabs him, gives him a kiss and a brazen face, and says to him, I had to offer my peace sacrifices and fulfilled my vows today. This is why I've come out to meet you, to look for you. And now I have found you. And here comes the love bombing. And I've spread quilts on my couch, made of colored Egyptian linen, and I've perfumed my bed with myrrh and aloes and cinnamon. Come on. Actually, I'm going to not read that one. I'm going to skip that one. My husband isn't home. He's gone on a long trip. I think you guys can figure out what is going on here. And he took a bag of money with him, and he won't be back until the moon is full. And with all her sweet talk, she convinces him, enticing him with her seductive words. And once he follows her like an ox, listen to me, on the way to be slaughtered, like a fool to be punished in the stocks, or like a bird rushing into a trap, not knowing its life is at stake, till the arrow pierces his liver. Let's pray. Father in heaven, I just thank you for this word that you've given us today, Father. And you know what? We just give you all control today, Father. And we ask for your blessing to be upon every word that's spoken today. We ask for your Ruach Kodesh to be present with us today, Father. And Father, I just pray for your blessing over this message tonight. Let it be fulfilling. Let it bring honor and glory to you, Father. And all of Yahweh's children said, praise Yahweh. That's right. Praise Yahweh. Isn't he beautiful? Shalom. Anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the call. So tonight, like I said, we're talking about adultery. We're talking about spiritual adultery. Of course, I'm going to mirror this to what's going on here. And you guys have just heard all of this. This is like a whole soap opera. I mean, we got stuff going on. We got somebody who got a third party. He's looking through the lattice and he's watching all this stuff going on. And can I tell you, that third person is the public. They see everything. They see what you're doing. They see what you're all about. They see how double-minded some people can be. They see these loose women walking around all over the place. You ever notice that? You'll see them. They'll be walking around, just walking around. No car. They're just walking around everywhere. This is what we have to worry about. And can I tell you, this is an age-old problem. This has been going on for a long time. Because the adultery that's happening is not on her part. It's on the man's part. Uh-oh. Bet you had never heard it explained like this before. Hang on, everybody. It's about to get fun. Listen. this is going to change the way you look at this adultery. I'm telling you, because this is a word that's thrown around in the office, right? And on Jerry Springer here and there, right? Especially the reruns. And we hear these things, and we hear people talk about this adultery word, and we think that it has to do with breaking a marriage up, right? Typically, that's what Jerry Springer was all about. He was all about breaking up marriages and confusing everything, bringing all that private into the public and just making a mess, making potato salad out of everybody's life. And this is what happens when we bring public and private together. This is why they don't mix. They never mix well. And in this situation, we're seeing that the man is actually committing the adultery. See, because what he's not saying is what's going on inside of the man's heart. Where's he supposed to be doing? Why is he out doing this? Why doesn't he have enough? Why doesn't he have enough discernment to say, hey, don't kiss now? And she jumps up and kisses him in the street corner, just pow, here you go, love bombing him. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen before. And men, do y'all do this too? Works both ways. But what I'm talking about is that other person. I'm not talking about the one with the Egyptian cotton and all that stuff going on. I'm talking about the other guy. I'm talking about the task that he's supposed to be doing. What's he doing? Well, it's interesting because this doesn't just start there. It doesn't just stop here. Let's go to Exodus, everybody. Exodus 32. That's right. All right. So this is when the children of Israel just got let out of, they just got let out of Israel. Okay. They just got let out of Egypt. And it's very interesting because one of the things that you're going to pick up on as you read through this is that these people had a fair amount of wealth with them. They were walking around, they had jewelry, diamonds and things like that. That sounds like very much like what we have today. We have a society that's enslaved, completely enslaved to debt. And they walk around with all this gold. Ooh, yeah, me too. Yeah, it's part of our culture. We walk around with this stuff, you know what I mean? And I'm not so sure why. I don't really know the ifs and whys of why these guys had so much, because apparently they did. But let's read about this thing here real quick, okay? It says, when the people saw that Moshe, and that some of your Bibles may read this as Moses, okay, was taking a long time from coming down from the mountain. That means that he went up to the mountain to go have a conversation with Yahweh about how he's going to lead the people, because now we got the people out of Israel, and they're in the middle of the wilderness, and we got to get them home. We got to get into this land that's overflowing with milk and honey. This place that's supposed to be their reward for the slavery that they've now left, that Yahweh has now taken them to. And the irony of all this is that most of them didn't make it. Here's another irony of it. They spent 40 years going around a mountain. Seems dumb, huh? But I'm going to tell you, a lot of us spend 40 years. I spent 40 years going around a mountain too, man. I'm no better. And you know what? He still saved me. Yeah. And it's not about who's better or who's not better. It's what matters is, who's he going to save? When he's handing out grace, what's going to matter is, are you going to get any? Because brothers and sisters, we all need it. We do. So he's up here at the top of the mountain. The people are getting impatient, right? And they gathered around Aaron. I said, get busy and make us gods to go ahead of us, because Moshe and the man that brought us up from the land of Egypt, we don't know where he has become or gone. Wow. And you know what? I'm just as guilty. Yahweh has done great things in my life, and yet one little thing happens. One little woman comes running out to the streets and gives the man a kiss and a brazen blah, 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 and says, I'm open for business. And look, he forgot everything. Look at this. Moses went up, whoever, he goes up on the mountain, right, to go have a conversation with Yahweh. He's going to get the 10 Commandments on how to run this thing. He tells everybody, Aaron, tell everybody to chill out, hang out down here. I'm going to go up talk to Yahweh, and when I get back, we'll come back. We're going to fix all this. And they're like, okay. So they're getting impatient. That was their biggest. This was the first red flag. And what we can learn from this, you guys, is that when we start seeing these red flags, don't get so stinking curious. Put that car in reverse, back up. Get on your knees and start praying. Talk to Yahweh. Ask him, something doesn't look right. Should I wait a little longer? I mean, they were 40 years around the mountain. I mean, what's another day or two, right? Just saying. It's his time clock, isn't it? It should be. So here we go. Aaron said to them, have your wives and sons and daughters strip off their gold earrings. This is children. Strip off their gold earrings and bring them all to Aaron. And he received them and gave it to them and melted it down. And they made it into the shape of a calf. Now, why did they make it into a shape of a calf? I mean, a lot of people misinterpret this story. A lot of people really don't understand what's going on in this story. And what's happening is this, okay? These people are so used to having a pacifier in their mouths and having someone lead them around that they don't know how to think for themselves. They lack the discernment to have the patience to wait upon the Lord. Doesn't the word say that? We got to wait upon the Lord, right? How are you going to wait upon the Lord if you're over here rushing him, telling him he's got to get stuff done? Are you kidding me? Humility is the beginning of wisdom. And that ain't it, man. And I'm laughing because I'm guilty of that too, okay? I did it too. You know, how many times do we sit around and it's the 28th of the month and we got something that's coming up on the 1st of the month and we're like, Yahweh, have you seen what time it is? Have you looked at the calendar, Yahweh? We got this thing and it's coming. So you have one choice. No, you have two choices. No, you have one choice. You can wait upon him or you can not wait upon him. And if you don't wait upon him, here's what happens. Our own ingenuity starts to trickle in. And then we start to invent things. So because Moses hasn't come down yet, they took all the gold together. They decided they were going to, and they were probably hungry because they were getting tired of manna and all this and that. So they made Yahweh into a golden cheeseburger, a calf. That's right. They made him into that and they said, you know what? We're going to worship this thing since Moses didn't bring anything down here. And our culture has taught us to do otherwise. Brothers and sisters, our culture has taught us to do otherwise. Look at this season we're in right now. Look at the last season we were in. How did we go from being scary and spooky and evil and all that stuff? How did we go from that to Christmas? We did that in a month. No, 2 months. We went from being scary and irresponsible and, oh, it's for the kids. And we went from that to Thanksgiving. It has nothing to do with Yahweh. Nothing. And now we're rolling into this next little matrix where we got a fat guy that's going to come down and come visit everybody. Sounds like a fat calf to me. It sounds like a fatted gold calf to me. It sounds like we're in a place right now where people don't want to wait upon Yahweh. And you're wondering why your lives are falling apart? You're wondering why your wife won't talk to you anymore? Husbands? You're wondering why your kids won't talk to you anymore? It's because we're out of balance. It's because we've lost our way. We've been looking at Dr. Spock rather than looking at this word, you see. See, when you read about what these people are doing here, we can look at this in our own lives and we can mirror this and we have an opportunity. We can fix it. It doesn't take years of therapy to open this book and read this. But what it does take is a humble heart. What it does take is someone that's willing to be obedient. Somebody that's willing to trust Yahweh enough to saying, you know what? Here's the deal, everybody. And here, let me just break it down for you guys. If you obey him, he's going to bless you. He's going to do everything in the world for you. Does it mean you're earning your salvation? Oh, because I know somebody's going to say that. Oh, it sounds like he's going to earn his salvation. And these are coming from the people that actually have no good works. These are coming from the people that are praying in public so everybody can see what great things they're doing. And these are the people that are on TikTok that are saying, hey, we're going to take a dishwasher to this needy parent over here and let 10,000 people see us do it. You know what Yahweh says? He says you've already received your reward. Those of you that are seeking those rewards among men, you've already received your reward. He doesn't know you. You just kissed it all away. You just wasted your dryer. Why? Because when we decide that we don't want to wait on him, and we decide that we don't want to follow these rules, and look at this, man. The 10 Commandments hadn't even come down from the mountain yet. And they were already, I don't want to follow this. We're not doing this. That's it. We're going to make a fatted calf. We're going to worship this stuff. That's that. This is sad. This is sad. And here's what's even more sad. We all fall into this. Did you hear me? We all fall into the very same trap. And if we don't fall into the trap, we have a temptation every minute, every day, every time we turn on the radio, every time that we turn on the TV. You know? And this is why it's so important to have the right stuff around you. This is why it's important that we stop going to Dr. Spock and we start going right here. We start getting on our knees. You start putting that equity into motion. And let me tell you something. You can do anything. I don't care how big your problem is. I don't care what her name is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because he's already done it. Verse 3 says, the people stripped off their gold earrings and brought him to Aaron. Verse 4 says, they gave it to him, they melted it, they gave it to the calf. And listen to this blasphemy right here. They shaped it into a calf, and then they said, Israel, here is your God who brought you up from the land of Egypt. What kind of blasphemy is that? Can you believe that? After all this time and all these miracles that Yahweh showed up and did for these people, these ungrateful people, hey, you can put me in that same category too, because I'm just as bad. I'm no better. But here's an opportunity for us to learn. Here's an opportunity for you to make tomorrow better than what you did today. This is the growth. This is the path that we're supposed to be on. You know, my stepfather, he didn't have many wise words to say, but he did say one little group of words, a little cliche, and I still say it to this day. The man who thinks he has arrived, he hasn't begun. And the man who has truly arrived, he won't know it when he does. You know why? Because he's just too humble to know. And that's okay. That's okay. That's totally okay. That's a good place to be, everybody. Don't you think? Just take a second and just take a breath on that. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels satisfying, doesn't it? Because that's where we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be over here giving credit to somebody else. But can I tell you, in America, we're doing that every single day. Every single day that we go, oh, ho, ho, ho. Every single day that somebody says, Merry Christmas. Every day that somebody, well, it's just for the kids. We're just going to get a present. No, those are offerings, okay? And those offerings have nothing to do with Yahweh. They bring no glory to Yahweh. They have nothing to do with Messiah. Nothing. Not a single thing. Early the next morning, verse 6, Seeing on this the altar in front of it, they proclaimed, tomorrow is to be the feast for Adonai. So they were worshiping this calf, but they were doing it in they were doing it for Yahweh. They were doing it for Adonai. They wanted to bring glory to him. They wanted to bring honor to him. But here's the problem. They didn't know how to be obedient. Now, time has passed. And we all know what the 10 Commandments are. And we know if we're obedient, if we're not obedient. Here's how you know. When somebody says it's in my heart, he knows. That's a red flag. That means run the other way, especially if it's your pastor. Get out of there. Pray for him at home. You'll be better off. You'll do him a bigger favor than that, okay? Don't rebuke these people. There's no reason to. You know what? If we're serving Yahuwah, if we're serving him, these people will get in line or they're going to get out of line and they're going to stay out of line. And I got to tell you, I see a lot of that today. I see a lot of that in America today because we have so much spiritual adultery going on. We have these little gods running around everywhere. And people worship them. How many people have elves in their house right now? We're not supposed to have those. Those are little demons. Oh, Jesus loves me. But what about the elf? You brought the demon in too? We just invite everybody over? That's not going to work. Yahweh doesn't want to share your dinner table with nobody except for you. He loves you. And he's done so much for everybody here today. I know all of you have your stories. I can feel it. I can feel it radiating through the phone, man. I'm telling you, all of you guys have your stories. All of you guys have seen Yahweh work in your life, just like these guys did. Okay? These guys were in a desert, man. And there was no 7-Eleven, no Home Depot, no Lyft, no PayPal, nothing. And it was a pillar of fire, or the star and the fire at night, and they were leading them through the desert, right? And then we had issues where the people weren't doing what they were supposed to do. They were complaining. Yahweh got upset. He grumbled, took them down. And now we're falling into this deal. This is very early when they've just come out, but they've just come out of the land of Egypt, and they're already complaining. So Aaron, in verse 7, it says, Adonai said to Moses, for some of y'all, go down and hurry. Your people whom you brought out of the land of Egypt have become corrupt. This is what Yahweh says. So quickly they have turned aside from the way I have ordered for them to follow. And Aaron and the rest of them jumped in the water with them. Yep, that's exactly right. And they have cast metal into a statue of a calf and worshipped it and sacrificed it and said, Israel, here is your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. And Adonai continued speaking to Moshe, and I have been watching these people. And you can see how stiff-necked they are. You know what? Yahweh's getting pretty ticked off here. He's running out of patience here, everybody. And I'm going to tell you, he's running out of patience right now. Y'all should be scared. I am. We should be scared, and we should be fearful of not doing any of this evil stuff that's going on out there, because it's out there. I mean, you can't help but get online and look at all these hookup sites. I mean, they're everywhere. And I mean, look, here's free and easy over here. Here's 5 minutes and down the street over here. I mean, and they're everywhere. Don't get curious. Just go the other way. Trust me. And there's so much out there to keep you distracted. There's so much that's going to tell you, hey, come on over here. It's going to be flickering. Look at all the jewelry these guys had. They had enough jewelry to take it from the women and the kids to create a calf. That's a lot of gold. James Avery would have had a heart attack, I'm telling you. Probably. So anyway, in verse 9, Adonai continued speaking to Moshe, and it says, I've been watching these people, and you can see how stiff-necked they are. Now leave me alone, so that my anger can blaze against them, and I can put an end to them, and I will make a great nation out of you instead. Wow. Wow. Did you hear that? Oh, but God is a God of love. You better love him first. Because if you don't obey him, you're an enemy of him. Listen to what he says. Now leave me alone, so that my anger can blaze against them, and I can put an end to them. And I will make a great nation out of you instead. This is just dumb. Now, Moses is a good dude. And he loved his people a lot. And he was a righteous man. This is why Yahweh chose him, you see. And in verse 11 it says, Moshe pleaded with Adonai his God, and he said, Adonai, why must your anger blaze against your own people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, with great power and a strong hand? Why let the Egyptians say it was with evil intentions that led them out to the slaughter, and with them into the hills, and to wipe them off of the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce anger, relent, and don't bring such a disaster on your people. Remember Abraham, remember Yitzhak and Israel, your servants, who swore by your very self. You promised them, I will make your descendants as the stars of the sky, and I will give them all the land that I have spoken out of your descendants, and they will possess it forever. And Adonai changed his mind about the disaster that he had planned for the people. That's a pretty bold statement. You know, and this is something that I learned to adopt in my prayer life. I learned to adopt this in my prayer life, to start quoting scripture, to say, you know what, Yahweh, your word says this. And if I'm missing it, I want you to show me. And if I'm not missing it, let's put the pedal down. Let's go. And that was enough for him to change his mind and say, you know what? I'm going to save these worthless people instead. Think about it. He took all these people. He's been so patient, okay? And Israel decided they were going to go worship other gods. They were going to do whatever they wanted to. They got sucked in by everything. And I think things really went bad when they got their first king. I think that once they got into politics, I think that's when things went bad. Tell me that hasn't changed. Anyway, but I really think that's just my opinion, but that's just what I think. And so what's happening here is that he's trying to reset these people. And Abraham went to Yahweh and said, hey, I want you to love these people anyway, because I love these people. These are my people. And he bent an ear and listened to him. Hey, this is before the time of Messiah. This is before the time of the First Baptist Church, okay? There were no Christians running around here with little fishes on their wagons, okay? There was none of that going on. This is way before all that. And I'm saying that because I want you to know who Adonai is. He's not some sleepy old man that's retired and isn't working for you anymore. He loves you. And he knows everything that you're facing right now, no matter how big it is. He knows where you are, and he knows what plans he has for you. The difference is obedience. Are we going to be adulterers to this word, or are we going to embrace this covenant? The people that are failing out there right now, the people that are stuck in neutral, the people that are stuck in bondage, and that's all kinds of bondage out there you can be in, okay? But the people that are stuck like this, man, these are the people that have decided that I'm going to be stiff-necked. That means that somebody can't correct you. That means you're too proud to be corrected, or you just can't self-examine. And we're running into a day and age of that. I talked to one of my students this week, and he happens to be actually an MD. And we got to talking about this sort of thing, that's going on, this Jezebel spirit that we're starting to see rise up, and it's coming up, from lots of places, But really where it's coming up from is disobedience. If people had their eyes on Yahweh and they were serving him first, they wouldn't see all this other stuff. But instead, the half-naked woman comes running out into the street squares and off you go, off to the slaughter. Come on now. It happens. And this is that spiritual adultery that attacks our families every day. Married men and women. There are people out there that are completely challenged to get their rocks off just by breaking up people's happy marriages. How do we fix that? Put Yahweh at the center of your marriage. There are people out there that make it a business to go out and disrupt people that like to tell the truth, that like to speak up and speak for themselves, like myself. How do you beat that? You stand on the rock. You stand with absolute truth. And you walk in absolute truth. How do we do that? You move in equity. You start learning to move in equity in the things that you do. And what that means is that you have something behind you that says, that happened. You have somebody in your life that's going to say, you know what? That guy did that. Yeah. You know what? He did serve Yahweh with his heart, soul, mind, and body. I watched a movie the other day about a racer. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But I watched a movie the other day about a racer. And it was really a little disheartening to see that I could see his real power. Because I've tasted that real power. I saw why this young man could win no matter what. And it's because every step that he took was with Yahweh. Every step that he took had the smell of goodness. Everything that he took had the smell of integrity. And people around him, even the people that hated him, knew he was reliable in that regard. They knew that no matter what happened, he would always do the right thing. And if that's you, Yahweh has great things planned for you. and you're going to change the world. Do you hear me? You're going to change the world. And it starts by changing your world. It starts by refusing the loosed woman that gets running around everywhere because you can't keep her feet at home. Huh? Or the loose man for that matter, okay? Doesn't matter. This is where it comes from. It comes from being aligned with Yahweh. Not saying, well, I know who he is. I'm talking about, yeah, like you being the servant and him being in charge. That's right. Oh, that sounds so unrealistic by these days, right? That's so old-fashioned, Tim Dameron. I mean, certainly not when we sit around and serve stuff. Oh, but we do. But we do. How many of you guys got a whole bunch of crosses on your wall? Looks like Buffy the Vampire Slayer came over and you're like, hope she doesn't go back. Put all these crosses on the wall. Hurry up. How many people got pictures of Jesus in their house? How many of you guys got that in your house? How many people got crosses with dead bodies hanging on them? That's not Yeshua. He's off that cross. He's off that stick. He's been off that tree for a long, long time. And let me tell you, our adversary wants nothing more than for us to remember Messiah as being in a little baby. Yeah, in your little nativity scenes. He wants you to be that little guy, the smallest one in the whole scene. He wants you to be that guy. He wants him to be small and weak. But you know what? He saved the world. He saved the world in one decision. And he enforced it because of his equity, because of what he did. And so many people saw it. Even though he told people, don't tell people about me. It didn't matter. Yahweh has that same calling in your life. But he's asking you to be obedient. Grace is running out. Grace is running short. Shorter than me, and I'm pretty short. And our time is running out. You can see the regime changing in our country right now. Those of you guys that can't see that, I'm sorry. But it's changing. And we're about to step into something else. And things are going to be very uncertain. Because they have been already, have they not? Look at the inflation. Look at all the stuff that's happening. Look how much it costs to live anywhere, especially if you're in California. You have to be a millionaire to live in a box out there, pretty much. Yeah. That's not realistic. That's slavery. I would fix that. The first thing we have to remember is this. Please remember this. Yahweh owns everything. You want to know who has all the money? You want to know who really has all the control? I know. Satan's got his little thing and he's running things right now. But you know who's babysitting this guy? Do you know who this guy has to check in with every time he wants to do something stupid to you? That's right. He's got to check in with my boss. That's right. The guy that I serve every day. He has to check in with him. And he has to check in with him to make sure it's okay to do anything to me. Whereas before, when we weren't walking with him, he could come destroy you. He could take everything from your life and make you a zero in a day. You could lose everything you have, including maybe a little bit of your mind too. He could make that happen. I know because I've seen it happen. I've come back from zero more than once. But you know who brought me back? The guy that owns everything. We got to stop serving these false gods. Okay? They sit around and all you have to do, they can't even dust their own pictures. Really. Look at all these statues that people have in their house and they don't speak. They don't do anything. They don't keep people from breaking in their house. People still get murdered in their house. Bad things still happen in their house. Even though all these little statues are all over the place. So I'm going to tell you that these little gods, these little elves, little Santa Claus, they have no power. And the longer that we keep serving these gods, believing that they do have some power, the more you are going to suffer. The more your family is going to suffer. The more your personal growth is going to suffer. And we can do this better. We can do this so much better. In verse 15, and we're in Exodus 32, by the way. Moshe turned down and went down from the mountain after Yahweh told him what everybody was doing down there, by the way. And that's another cool thing about Yahweh. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't say, hey, call Moses up on the mountain and tell him what they're doing down here. Nobody said that. He didn't need it. Did he? Yahweh told him right here what was happening. And you know what? When my enemies are doing stupid stuff against me, he tells me too. He tells me all the time. We were just talking about that today, as a matter of fact. It's actually quite funny. Anyway, it says he turned down and went down from the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hand. Now, these are inscribed on both sides, on the front and the back. And these tablets were the work of our Elohim, were the work of God. And the writing was the writing of God, engraved on the tablets. That means he wrote these things himself. Okay? His own spoken word. He's bringing them down from the mountain. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any fresher than that. I mean, it just doesn't, man. In verse 17, it says, when Joshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moshe, it sounds like war in the camp. And he answered, this is neither the clamor of victory nor the wailings of defeat. What I hear is the sound of people singing. So maybe their intent was right. Maybe they were trying to do the right thing, but they just decided they were just going to do things the way they want to do things. And you know what? But they just decided they were just going to do things the way they want to do things. And you know what? That's happening in today's Christian churches. This is happening in our culture. We spend more time worried about Christmas than we worry about any of the feast days. The Day of Atonement, forget it. Don't care. Not even on the calendar. Oh, that's a Jewish holiday. That's not for us. No, it's for everybody. It's for Yahweh. Oh, but Yeshua came here, the Messiah came here, and he did all that so we don't have to. Doesn't say that in the word anywhere. Not a single place. If your pastors are telling you these things, stop going to their churches. Okay? If your friends are telling you these things, pray for them. Pray for your pastors too, if they're all for them as well. But I'm saying, pray for your friends. Okay? And more importantly, don't get in conflict with these people. Get in line. Because when people start seeing the bliss, because when you start honoring Yahweh, he starts doing things. He starts doing really cool things just to remind you that he loves you. Like parking spaces. Like little conveniences like that. I do it all the time. I'll pull into some place, and sure enough, as soon as I pull in, somebody's pulling out so I can pull in. It's a front parking space. It's almost every time. That's Yahweh. That's him telling me that, hey, son, I love you. And I see you. He sees you too. Okay? Let's keep going here. Anyway, sorry about that. I got a little off here. Okay. But the moment Moshe got near the camp, he saw the calf and the dancing, and his own anger blazed up. So now, Moshe was kind of talking to Yahweh earlier, saying, hey, why don't you give these guys a break? Maybe it's not as bad as you think. Maybe we should save these guys. Let's not take them out. But then as he gets down there, he kind of sees why Yahweh's kind of ticked off. Do you know why? Because he's his homie? No, because he's walking in line with him. And he can see the standard that Yahweh has set for you and for him. And because he can see that their hearts might be in the right place, but this isn't going to get it done. This is the other way. Anyway, he threw down the tablets he had begun holding, and he shattered them at the base of the mountain. And then, seizing the calf, listen to this, that they had made with fire, he melted it down and ground it into powder, all that gold. And he scattered it on the water, and then he made the Israel people drink it. Their own punishment of their own God. And I'm sure there was a little bit of satire in there too. You guys want a cow? We're going to cook it. I don't know. But I know that Yahweh has a funny little sense of humor like that. And he does stuff like this so that stubborn people like me will remember how much he loves me. And, this is where we have to be in our processes. Adultery is not just limited between a marriage. Not a matrimonial marriage, at least. See, we're in a marriage with Yahweh. When we decide that, hey, we're going to come aboard and we're going to join this club and we're going to stop managing things on our own and we're going to just hand those things to Yahweh and let him handle the tough stuff, and we're just going to focus on obeying him. Start with the Sabbath, okay? Start with getting into his word, of course, first. But then the Sabbath, and start perfecting that process. And then start looking at the stuff that we're supposed to eat and not supposed to eat. Trust me, he'll change that in you. He'll change that in you, and he'll tell you to stop asking for bacon on your stuff. I know, I was a big bacon lover myself. But here's the thing. I found out that my love for Yahweh was much greater than that bacon. Huh? Forget that bacon. I love him more. And since I've done it, my health has improved. I'm 52 years old. I'll be 53 in 2025. And I couldn't be in better shape. I never have been in better shape. So this is something that Yahweh does within us. Those of us that are having health problems, I'm not saying it's because of this, because you're not following what Yahweh says. But here's what I am going to tell you. If you start following, what do you have to lose? If we start following the 10 Commandments and the rules, what do you have to lose, man? Nothing. But you have the opportunity to gain everything. You have opportunity to be used and have favor from the Most High. No. I'm not talking about the second in charge, man. I'm talking about the Most High. The one that, if you keep reading in Exodus here, he starts talking about, Moses wants to see his face. This is how close these two were. This is how close their relationship was. And with the Messiah have come and gone, or come and died for us, we have that same ability to have that same relationship with him that Moshe did. We could do this today. What's it going to take? How much more of your stuff are you going to have to lose before you figure this out, man? How many relationships need to go into the fire for you to figure out that you need him? How many bids, how many more losses do you need to take before you figure out with him you can win everything? Huh? How many more? I'm going to tell you, for me, I'm done. I stopped. I stopped when I was 45 years old, and I handed everything to Yahuwah again. Okay? I failed. I didn't take that time to focus on who he was. But when he called me in 2015, I heard his voice, and it shook the inside of me. It changed my life. And it reminded me how much he loved me. And it reminded me how much he loves you. You have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful opportunity tonight to take this stuff out of your house, to get these trees, to get these idols, to get these crosses, to get these graven images, to get Obi-Wan Kenobi out of your house, to get these nativity scenes out of your front yards, and stop acting like you serve Yahweh and we need to do it. We saw in Exodus a bunch of actors, okay? You saw a whole bunch of people that had the script and they decided they were going to do things their own way. And they got that fatted calf, that golden calf. I'm going to tell you what, he'll make you eat it. And if he loves you enough, you'll lose everything you have. You will. But you know what? Once you give your life to him, the first thing that's going to happen is you have purpose. The second thing that's going to happen is now you have his anointing. And that's an ability to do anything. Here's what I love about people that just start walking with Yahweh. Their prayer lives are amazing. So please, those of you guys that just start walking with Yahweh, pray for this. Pray for our ministry, man. We need it. I need the prayer and you guys need the practice. So please do. Because those prayers are the ones that Yahweh hears, you see. You saw what Moshe did, right? He said, hey, can we just, these people, you don't need to do that. You don't need to take these people out. They deserve it. We deserve it. But we can start today. We can start today. Get this crap out of your house. There is no Christmas story in this Bible. There's no Christmas story in Torah. And the reality is, the Messiah was born sometime in September. Just so you know. So this is somebody else's TV show. This is somebody else's golden calf. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's invaded your living rooms, represented itself as being holy, when it's just nothing but blasphemy. And we're wondering why our lives are falling apart. We got to change this today. I want to close tonight with a little prayer. I want to pray for all of you guys. More importantly, I want to pray for my enemies today too. And I really would love to have you guys in on this prayer tonight. I hope that you guys can make these changes in your life. And more importantly, I hope that Yahweh helps you make these changes in your life. I hope that the standard that Yahweh has presented today will be burned into your hearts. It will be burned into your voices, burned into the things that you say, so that you can't even fumble into that ho, ho, ho stuff anymore. We can do better. We could talk to the boss. We don't have to fall in love with the ornaments, guys. We can fall in love with the giver. We can fall in love with him right now, today. Let's pray. Father in heaven, I just thank you for this day that we have, and I thank you for this opportunity that we have to serve you, to know who you are. We ask for your forgiveness today. I ask you to forgive me for leaving you and selling you out for that golden calf, Yahweh, when I should have been on my knees praying, talking to you, and serving you. I pray for my enemies today, Father, and I lift them up to you today, and I just pray that you bless them. You bless every one of them according to their measure. I pray that you bless the people that are watching this broadcast right now. And maybe if you don't like me very much, I love you. And I want you to know that Yahweh loves you too. And Yahweh, I just pray for them. I pray for them individually, Father, and I pray that your hands would be over them today. And I pray that you bless every person's house today that would be listening to this tonight. I pray that you would convict the hearts that are here tonight, Father, to establish change, to establish real, honest obedience, because that's what you want from us, Yahweh. And we just want to give that to you today, Father. We thank you for all that you do. We thank you for Messiah. We thank you for your word. It's so powerful, Yahweh. We give you praise, honor, and glory in all things. Hallelujah. Shalom, everyone. Shalom. I wish you all the absolute best. I hope that Yahweh continues to bless your day. Bless all that you guys are doing. Excuse me. Join us tomorrow night. We're going to have a wonderful call tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about, lots of stuff. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., join us right here. We hope to see you guys there. Be blessed, everybody. Good night.
Call recording